What's up, guys? We are back with another Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts review, and we're taking a look at the first Dragon Ball Z event exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con this year, which of course is debuting soon. For those of you that are going to San Diego, I'll put some info down below about how you can find these and get a hold of them while you're at the convention. But we're taking a look first at probably the star of the show when it comes to these exclusives this year. We're taking a look at the very unique Gohan and Goku 2-pack. And it's kind of interesting because this is an actual 2-pack of two fully fledged figures. It's not something like Tien and Chaozu. It's not a little static figure or anything like that. It's two full figures that are being reissued in new ways. So we're getting Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and we're getting a ghost version, spirit version of Goku. Now, as a result, this thing comes in a pretty unique package as well because it's kind of a double wide thing, but we also get our, and I'm always a big fan of this, event exclusive style box, so you get that black color scheme. So you've got Gohan there peeking out with some of Goku's accessories in the window. You've got that purple and black relief artwork on the front. One spine has a product shot, the other spine has some more artwork, and then the back of the box, in typical Figuarts fashion, is going to give you product shots showcasing how these guys move and some of the stuff they come with. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our event-exclusive Gohan and Goku 2-pack. So again, this is a set that's kind of recreating a scene, setting up a very specific type of thing to have Goku come back, help Gohan. But we're getting something very, very different this year when it comes to how this release is actually executed. Of course, Gohan is a reissue, and Goku is still technically a reissue as well. There's nothing new here between these parts, really. We've got a figure that came out, I don't even know how long ago in Gohan. He's a very old figure at this point, but he's also very, very expensive now, too. I mean, he sells for well over triple digits when it comes to the aftermarket to get that regular version. And then this is, of course, a new iteration of Goku that we've never had. We've never had anything like this before, with a fully translucent, ghostly figure, which is just kind of cool on its own. So I'm pretty excited to take a look at these guys. It's not really unfamiliar territory for me because I do have the original Gohan, and then I've got, 15 million Gokus at this point, but they do offer some new stuff. So we're going to look at them individually. We'll start with Gohan because it's really his set, and then we'll get to Ghost Dad over here. So our angry little Gohan is an older figure. There's no doubt about it. This thing came out years and years ago. So it's not necessarily up to current standard when it comes to Figuarts. If you're going to compare it to, say, something like the brand new Trunks, this thing is going to seem a little antiquated. But if you want to get this particular look for Gohan, this is your best shot to get it again. So let's see what he can do, see how he moves around. We've got a head that can look up really, really good. You're going to get a little bit of a gap if you go too far. Down really nicely also. You got some crazy, crazy tilt there and full rotation. Arms out at the shoulders, they go higher than shoulder. We've got twist. There is a butterfly joint in here, but this is like one of the older styles where it really only goes so far. You've got a bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows. Again, kind of older construction on this guy. You got your ball hinge wrists, so in and out and then around. He does have a diaphragm cut, but it really doesn't do much more than shimmy side to side. You've got a ball peg at the waist down here that will allow you to go backwards and forward, so he can crunch forward fairly decently. Side to side, okay, and then there's also a swivel point down there for you. Legs go out only yay far. That's probably the biggest limiting factor for me is his legs. They kick forward all the way. Backward, probably more than you need. You've got your thigh twist, double jointed knees. They go back decently enough. And then the ankles on these guys, this is definitely the one tell for exactly how old this figure is, just based on the fact that it has very, very little range. So you've got some shimmy side to side and forward and backward and full rotation because the boot fully encompasses the actual ankle itself. So there's really not a whole lot of range there. And then you do have our ever-present toe hinge. So he moves okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He is definitely an older figure. But if you don't have this one, the articulation maybe isn't the biggest focus for you. He still moves all right, and you'll be able to get him into some pretty decent poses without too much fuss. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, Gohan is, again, he's a repaint, he's a reissue. But I do think there is enough different, in many small ways, I should say, in many small ways, that might make this guy worthwhile when it comes to double dipping on this 2-pack to get this version, and of course to get, Ghost Goku, of course. He's still that same figure, so the parts are the same, the sculpt is the same, and I still think that this body holds up pretty well from a visual standpoint. It does have some limitations when it comes to articulation, but overwhelmingly, I think this is a pretty solid looking Gohan, and I can understand why people have still wanted this figure for a while. Now, of course, we do need to compare to really get an idea of what's different here. So here's both figures side by side. So this figure on the right is the one that came out, I'm pretty sure it was 2017 when he came out. And outside of the fact that the one on the right does have different accessories because it's meant to occupy two different types of Gohan figures, it has Super Saiyan 1 and 2 heads, I think that our new figure is probably the better version. For one, there is more paint on this figure, and I think that's quite obvious, but it's very small and minor. I also think the colors are a little bit better and richer here. So the purple for his outfit is a little bit darker. The boots are a different shade of brown. There is paint on the inside of the tear on his shirt there, and then of course he has all the battle damage scuffing. So he's got it on the face, got it on the pecs, and he's got it on his arm. The skin tone is also a better and more consistent color here as well. And that goes for the face, the arms, the chest, and even down to the knees, which are of course painted because they're molded in that purple, but they are a little bit more consistent, a little bit cleaner in many ways. At least, this copy right now looks kind of cakey down there to me. The big changes though are definitely going to be just the overall faces and the hair. And that's very normal for an event exclusive figure, but in many, many good ways, I think we've got the better versions here. So again, your mileage may vary on whether or not you think the metallic pearlescent hair is good or bad. I still really like it. I also still really like this hair too. So you do have, a couple different choices depending on if you have that old figure or not. But the faces in particular, and this one, we'll get to the others, I think is miles better. The paint is more consistent, cleaner. I think the skin tone looks better. And all of that battle damage scuffing does, sort of correspond to this particular era in this instance that they're trying to sell. I do still like, of course, the matte finish and the highlighted hair, but I also like the metallic hair too. So, again, that's a personal preference thing. It's obviously not something that's coming from the anime or anything like that. It's something used to differentiate the two releases. But I think the face paint in general, cleaner, more crisp, and in many ways looks more like Gohan. So he is still the same figure, there's no really denying that. It's the same figure down to the parts. But in many ways, I do think there are enough small improvements here that make this new one look a little bit better overall. Now, as far as Goku, he is, of course, very different. This is not the same type of figure, not the same type of idea as Gohan in this 2-pack. Gohan is a way for people to get him. If you maybe missed out, or if for some reason you gotta have 2 Gohans, that's a chance to get him again, a figure that is very old. This is a modern Goku until we get the new Goku. This is the stuff you could go to Target and buy Super Saiyan Full Power Goku, and you'd get a figure very similar to this. The idea behind this figure, though, is of course very much uncharted territory. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on here just based on the visuals. Now, as far as articulation goes, if you have messed with a Goku in a couple years, you know exactly what's going on here. But let's run through it anyway for the uninitiated. We've got a head that can look up really nice. He can look down really good also, like really far. Nice tilt, full rotation. Arms out at the shoulders about that far. He does have the shoulder pads that will kind of get in the way a little bit. You got swivel, you got a butterfly joint, you've got your bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, pretty good range. You've got your ball hinge, so in and out and then all around, just depending on how that hinge is oriented. He does have a diaphragm cut that actually does function. Compared to Gohan's, this has more range forward and backwards, side to side. And then you can twist at both the waist and the diaphragm on Goku. Legs go out pretty decently, not full splits, but it's still pretty far. Kick forward, backward all the way. You got your thigh twist, you got your double jointed knees. And then of course down at our ankles, he has fairly decent range. This is still not current technology for ankles at Figuarts, but this is sort of the better side of things. So he goes forward, backward, and then you've got pretty decent rocker and rotation as well as your toe hinge. So this is, if you've got like a Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku, or you've got last year's event exclusive, or you've got the Super Saiyan Full Power, that kind of stuff. You know exactly what to expect with this figure, but this is also kind of the standard for Goku, at least for now. Now, as far as Goku's design and the idea here, I'm very on board with this. He is a different kind of figure in the confines of event exclusives. Event exclusives are routinely, not always, routinely repaints to get a figure back out into market for folks who want to double dip, or for folks who don't have that figure, that character. This is the standard kind of Goku, so you can go buy this pretty much anywhere still, in terms of parts. This guy is meant to be a very specific instance of Goku, and I kind of like it. I know translucent figures are not for everybody. I know some people just don't care about that. It's a very toyetic thing. I really like it. I'm a big fan of translucent parts. I'm a big fan of fully translucent figures. So this kind of combines two of my favorite things when it comes to Dragon Ball and translucent stuff. I kind of get it all in one go, and I think this actually works. Dare I say this is the cooler figure of the 2-pack, really, because this is just a lot of fun. He is a fully translucent figure. There is, of course, paint on him, so some of the translucency is not always present, but he is a fully translucent figure. You can see the engineering throughout. It's like you can see the joints, you can see the pegs, you can see some of how he's put together, and I really like that. I like the idea behind that. I like being able to see that kind of stuff on my toys from time to time. He does have a decent amount of paint on him, though, don't get me wrong, especially on the legs. There's a lot of shading there. There's some shading on the torso, and the face in particular here is really, really good. This is another instance of them, kind of stepping up the game when it comes to the faces. It looks a little bit more accurate, has a little bit more detail on it as well. It is, of course, the same kind of Goku that we've been getting for a while, but I don't fault them for that. There's no reason for him to be anything different than that. So here is the full power Goku, and you can see, they're essentially the same. This one in particular, because they have that deeper V cut on the torso, so you get a better look of those figures. And these look really, really good together too. I can't stress enough how much I like this Goku with regular Gokus, because the colors play off each other really well. Orange and blue being complementary colors, they're gonna accent the other while not taking away focus from themselves, if that makes any sense. The colors play off of each other really nicely. So if you're into translucent figures, and you are familiar with these Goku bodies, pretty much all the stuff, not every single part, but just from a Saiyan raised on Earth Goku up until present, basically, you really know what you're getting into with this guy. But I do think he looks pretty tremendous. I like the smokiness to this plastic. I like the colors. I like the different finishes and levels of transparency on this figure. It does give him sort of a ghostly look. And then again, the face, the hair, all of that looks terrific with that translucent plastic, and then the paint on the face, again, is really, really well done here. Now, as far as accessories goes, this set is pretty standard fare when it comes to Figuarts at this point. It's basically all the normal stuff you would expect to get for both figures, but in one box. So to start with, we do get a bunch of extra pieces and parts for Gohan, but I want to stress that this is not going to be a one-to-one thing when it comes to that original Gohan, because that original one I showed earlier was meant to be Super Saiyan 1 and 2, so he comes with an extra head and hair for that specific version. This guy here is just Super Saiyan 2. Now, he does come with some faces and some hands. So to start with, you get the stoic expression, slightly angry expression on him in the box. We get a gritting of the teeth face. We get a slightly yelling face. And then we get a full-on yelling face. So you can get the progression from when he decides to just unload. So you've got the standard up through the full-on screaming. We get 4 extra sets of hands. You get a set of splayed finger hands. You've got fists on him in the box. Relaxed hands. You get these grasping hands. And then you also get a set of effect compatible hands that have a post in them to peg into the Kamehameha blast that we'll talk about here shortly. So he gets 10 total hands. Now with Goku, he is basically more of the same. To start with, you get this sort of stoic-y, slightly angered expression on him in the box. We get 2 extra faces, one with him gritting his teeth, and then we get one where he is full-on screaming to match Gohan's expression, basically. And then we also get 4 extra sets of hands with him as well. He comes with fists on him in the box, so we get a set of splayed finger hands. You get a set of grasping hands, and of course these are all translucent. And then you get a set of just style posy hands, posturing hands, and you get a set of instant transmission hands as well. And then to round out the set, we do get the Kamehameha charging effect piece with all of the various beams that are shooting off of it. So, we've gotten this a number of times at this point now. I'm never unhappy with getting a new one, though, because I can always make use of this stuff. And it does have the hole in there to peg into Gohan's hand specifically, so he can be the one to fire it off. So pretty standard array of accessories, really, all things considered. But you do get that extra effect part, which I'm really happy with. It's going to help set the scene, of course, if you don't, for some reason, already happen to have one. and then you get a good smattering of faces and hands as well. So yeah, overall, I think this 2-pack is actually really solid. It may not be for everybody, and I think that's going to be pretty obvious. This may not be for everybody, but this is going to have some appeal, I'm sure of it. People need this Gohan. He may be an older figure, but people definitely need this version of Gohan. And this version of Goku is just pretty weird. It's weird in a good way. It's very different for a Figuarts release. We don't have stuff like that. Fully translucent, well, he's very frosty, but he's a translucent figure nonetheless. Translucent Goku with a big Kamehameha effect to sell the idea of him helping Gohan to blast Cell. I really like the idea behind that. I just like the idea of having this 2-pack. It is, of course, a very new format for the line to get 2 fully fledged figures like that all in one go as they're trying to sort of set the scene and get an older figure back out to market. So that's going to do it for this look at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z event exclusive Gohan and Goku 2-pack. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.